Dear friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Classic Corner. What if the greatest tragedy of modern life is not failure but hesitation? What if a man knows everything, feels deeply, yet cannot act? Today, we are going to listen to the inner voice of such a man in the poem The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock. This poem was written by T.S. Eliot, one of the greatest modern poets. In this talk, we will understand why this poem is not really a love song but a confession of modern human fear and isolation. The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock is a dramatic monologue that reveals the inner fears, doubts, and paralysis of modern individual. T.S. Eliot believed that modern life had become fragmented, lonely, and spiritually empty. Published in 1915, this poem marked the beginning of modern poetry in English. You know, modern poetry does not sing about heroes. It speaks about the anxieties of you know ordinary minds. Influenced by industrial cities, changing social values, and psychological realism, T.S. Eliot presents a speaker who is intensely self aware but emotionally trapped. As I told you earlier, the poem is written as a dramatic monologue where Prufrock speaks to himself, revealing his thoughts rather than actions. The poem opens with Prufrock inviting a companion to walk with him through quiet, half deserted streets of a modern city. Let us begin with the first stanza of the poem. The lines run like this: Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one night cheap hotel or hotels, and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. See, the evening here is compared not to romance, but to a lifeless body lying unconscious. The streets lead to meaningless conversations, cheap hotels, and dull social spaces. From the very beginning, Eliot creates an atmosphere of emptiness, an atmosphere of hesitation, and an atmosphere of emotional paralysis. This is not the beginning of a love story, it is the beginning of a troubled mind. I repeat the first stanza. Let us go then, you and I, when the evening is spread out against the sky, like a patient etherized upon a table. Let us go through certain half deserted streets, the muttering retreats of restless nights in one night cheap hotels and sawdust restaurants with oyster shells, streets that follow like a tedious argument of insidious intent to lead you to an overwhelming question. As I told you in the beginning, the poem begins with Prufrock inviting an unnamed companion to walk with him through half deserted streets. These streets symbolize the empty mechanical life of the modern city. The atmosphere is dull and lifeless. This is beautifully captured in the following line. See, the line runs like this: the yellow fog that rubs its back upon the window panes. This fog represents confusion, uncertainty, and mental suffocation. Prufrock is deeply anxious about society and social judgment. He is obsessed with how others see him, his baldness, his thin arms, his appearance. He repeatedly asks himself, Do I dare? Do I dare disturb the universe? These questions show his fear of taking even the smallest decision. Prufrock keeps postponing action by telling himself, There will be time, there will be time, and there will be time. But this repeated assurance becomes a trap. Instead of acting, he analyzes endlessly. Time in this poem becomes a tool for escape from action, not opportunity. Though the poem is called a love song, Prufrock never expresses love directly. He wants to speak but cannot. He imagines women talking meaninglessly. He says, In the room, the women come and go, talking of Michelangelo. This suggests artificial conversation and emotional emptiness. Prufrock compares himself to great figures and finds himself unworthy. He says clearly, No, I am not Prince Hamlet, nor was meant to be. He sees himself as an insignificant man, a marginal figure, someone meant only to watch, not act. Prufrock imagines the moment of rejection even before speaking. He fears being misunderstood. He fears being laughed at, or he fears being ignored. This fear paralyzes him completely. Prufrock is constantly aware of aging and decay. He measures life in trivial moments. He says, I have measured out my life with coffee spoons. This line shows the emptiness and monotony of modern existence. In the final section, Prufrock imagines a fantasy world of mermaids and the sea. But even there, he knows they will not sing to him. The poem ends with the image of mermaids singing and Prufrock drowning. He says, I have heard the mermaids singing each to each. I do not think that they will sing to me till human voices wake us and we drown. This drowning symbolizes the final collapse of illusion and hope. Mermaids symbolize ideal beauty, romance, and artistic perfection, a world of dreams and imagination. Prufrock hears them but believes they will never sing to him, showing his deep sense of alienation and unworthiness. This shift from the dreamy underwater world to human voices represents harsh reality. When reality strikes, Prufrock drowns, not physically but emotionally and spiritually. Why this ending is so powerful? Because it captures modern man's tragedy, means rich inner life but paralyzed action. The image blends myth and modern despair, a distinctive feature of Eliot's technique. Prufrock does not die heroically, he simply fails to live fully. The poem ends not with love fulfilled, but with a dream crushed. Prufrock drowning when reality finally speaks. Prufrock represents the modern individual, intelligent, sensitive, self conscious, yet incapable of decisive action. The poem shows fear of society, fear of failure, fear of emotional exposure. Do I dare disturb the universe? This single question captures the entire tragedy of Prufrock. The poem, The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock, teaches us that the greatest punishment of modern life is not rejection, but silence, hesitation, and inaction. Prufrock does not fail because he is weak, he fails because he thinks too much and acts too little. With these words, I will end my talk on the poem The Love Song of Alfred J. Prufrock. Thank you.